So, as a life science teacher, I find that one of the most effective strategy in keeping my learners engaged in my lessons is practicals. Life science really is a subject that lends itself to a practical, hands-on component, and almost every topic, all the way from grade 10 to the end of grade 12, can be either demonstrated or done as an investigation or have some type of practical component that allows the learners to experience it for themselves. Because not only are they now taking what they've learned and putting it into practice and doing it themselves, which means they'll remember it better, but they also have to struggle through it. So it's a process that they're working through. And if they hit stumbling blocks, they have to figure out how they're going to solve that problem before being able to come to the required solution at the end of the practical. So it really enhances their cognitive ability and it makes it interesting. It's not just a teacher throwing facts at them that they have to memorize. They can actually put it into practice themselves and build something or do the test or the practical to see that the results are as the teacher and the textbook actually claim it is. So, for example, if you take just the grade 11 syllabus, this year when we started with microorganisms, I did an HIV practical with my learners where it was more to show them how relevant the subject is to the real world, so that they can understand that it's not just something boring they're learning, it's something that really is important that they need to learn. So every learner, for example, received a test tube with a clear liquid in it, and everyone in the class's clear liquid was water except for one learner, which had sodium hydroxide. It's also clear. Nobody knew who that learner was. And then the learners were required to have sex, so swap sexual fluid. So they would pour their test tube in somebody else's container and half, and they had to do that on average 4 times, as that is the average number of sexual encounters people have in South Africa. And then everybody returned to their seats after that. And then I added a drop of indicator solution, phenolphthalein, to every learner's test tube. And if it turned bright pink, the learner was then classified as being HIV positive. And usually, well, with all the classes, roughly 75% of the learners are then HIV positive. And then they can see that even though they started with only one learner being HIV positive, very quickly, by just having 4 sexual encounters, it spreads through the class. You can also make topics more interesting. So, for example, when we do plants, learners technically aren't very interested in plants. So I bring a lot of edible plants to class that they can taste the different tastes, and some of them numb their mouths and have a tingling sensation, so it makes it more interesting. There's lots of microscopy studies you can do. When they learn about the different tissues, they can actually see it. It's not just a diagram in a textbook. The grade 12s do human reproduction. You can show them slides of human sperm and ovum so that they can see that it really does look like what we claim, and it's not just a flat 2D diagram in a book that they have to learn. There's lots of organ dissections that we can do. The grade 11s do, they can do lung dissections, they can do kidney dissections, and then they can see the actual physical components of what they're learning about, and they can understand how the kidney works better, how it is able to filter out all of the nitrogenous waste in the blood, and building models such as DNA models for the grade 12s, the respiratory model using a Coke bottle and balloon for the grade 11s. All of that helps them to understand how everything fits better together and works better together, and it also makes it a lot more interesting for them. So they actually look forward to lessons, they look forward to the next topic, and it keeps them engaged, and it inspires learning, helps them to remember the work and understand it as well. Thank you.